don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I want to do this. I don't have to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. The fear of putting yourself out there and trying something new is so real. I realized that when I was trying to make this video. I was completely paralyzed with fear. I couldn't make a decision, I couldn't choose a topic, and so I thought maybe fear is a good topic to start with, since that's what I'm experiencing right now. Jung says where your fear is your task. So here I am, doing my task, working through this fear with you guys. I wasn't even sure what I was afraid of really, I just knew that the fear was real and it was paralyzing. Maybe it was the fear of failure, maybe it was the fear of the uncertainty, maybe it was the fear of criticism, who knows? But I knew that I had my work cut out for me. This is how I learned to use fear to my advantage. So when I first embarked on this journey, I started to do research on how to get rid of fear, as if there was something wrong or broken and it needed fixing. I actually Googled how to get rid of fear. But through my research, I realized I was asking the wrong question. The goal isn't to conquer fear or to try and get rid of it. It had to serve some sort of purpose, right? Maybe there's something we can benefit from fear. And if there is a purpose to fear, that means that I would have to learn to live alongside it, which I definitely wasn't excited for. But I knew that I had to get to the bottom of this. The idea of sharing our work with the world or trying something new, putting ourselves in a new position is daunting. Fear is an inevitable part of that process, and I think that it's easy for us to interpret that fear as a signal to take a step back. I mean, after all, that is the whole role of fear, is to keep us safe. It's to prevent us from doing anything dangerous. But is making this video dangerous? Is getting rejected dangerous? Is being vulnerable dangerous? Is putting my work online dangerous? Most of the things that we're afraid of in the 21st century world are not actually dangerous at all, in most parts of the world. Gabor Mate talks about how, just like many things, fear starts in childhood. It's interesting to me because when we were kids, we were scared of everything, but we were scared of nothing at the same time. We were scared of monsters, but we weren't afraid of failing at life. We were afraid of the dark, but we weren't afraid of our own mortality. And that's because for most of us, we had parents that acted as a safety net. But now we're adults, and I don't know about you, but I don't have anyone designated to me to catch me if I fall. And the chances are that we will fall. Actually, that's certain. That is probably the only certain thing in life, is that we will fail. So it just feels easier if we never try climbing in the first place. And that's kind of a bleak existence. I noticed for myself, at least, that that scared little girl is still very much alive and kicking and screaming. I cried 3 times in the making of this video, until I finally gave in and realized that this is just scary, and I gotta face it. That little girl is inside of me, and she's desperately looking for an adult. She's looking for something or someone to provide a safety net for her, so these big decisions or small decisions feel less scary. Many of us, when we encounter this inner child, we try to silence it or suppress it or conquer it or get rid of it. But when we ignore this very integral part of ourselves, we actually only amplify its voice. When I imagine my fears as a child, it humanizes them. You wouldn't try to suppress or silence a child. If you did, it would probably scream louder or throw a tantrum, which is kind of what I did while trying to make this video. But that's actually what we do with our fears a lot of the time. With a child, we would embrace them and we would tell them that it's okay and we would let them know that they're safe. And we might even encourage them to do it anyway. We would be an adult to that child and we would provide that safety net for them. And we can do that for ourselves too. When I was in Hawaii with my dad, we decided to go on a helicopter ride. When we were waiting to get on the helicopter, everybody was saying hi to each other, everyone was getting to know each other. Everyone was super excited and friendly, but there was one girl who seemed, I interpreted it as annoyed. I thought this girl's just really annoyed with everybody and not social. We were all really friendly, we wanted to be friends with everyone, and she was kind of isolating herself. And I was like, what's that girl's deal? We got on this helicopter and everything was great, everything was beautiful. It wasn't scary. We're all wearing these like headphones, so the captain can talk to us, and I think we could talk to each other too. You hear the captain over the intercom say, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay, it's almost over." That's the last thing that you wanna hear your captain say, is that like, don't worry, there's nothing to be afraid of, almost like implying that maybe there would be something that we might be afraid of. I look to the girl next to me and I realize that she's sobbing, full on sobbing and shaking. And when we land, we all get out of the plane and this girl is like so happy, she's high-fiving the captain. It becomes clear that this woman definitely had a fear of heights or something, a fear of flying. Somebody else that was on the flight with us kind of mumbles under his breath, why would she go on a helicopter if she's afraid of heights? And I remember thinking, this girl is more courageous than any of us. None of us were afraid to do it. She was afraid of it and she did it anyway. And as a result, she stepped into her courage. You can't have courage without having fear. So then I thought, what if instead of looking at fear as something to be conquered, we see it as an opportunity to be courageous, to be the adult we are and pick ourselves up, little kid and all, and tell ourselves that we've fucking got this and we can do it despite having fear. The fact that we have such small fears is absolutely an indication of how lucky and privileged we are. But even knowing that doesn't make things less scary. In the 21st century world, especially in the West, not everywhere in the world, but in most places, we don't have the same fears that our ancestors had of famine and war, and if you date back even further, of animals. Our ancestors were probably being chased by saber-toothed tigers and stuff. I don't even know what a saber-toothed tiger is, like if that's, I don't know. Even though we don't live with any of those threats anymore, the very real archetypal fear of death and the unknown still exists in us. And it manifests in the mundane uncertainties that we face on a daily basis. Fears like, what if I don't get the job? Or what if I get rejected? Or what if I fail? Can evoke feelings as strong as if our lives were at stake. And so as a result, we insulate ourselves. We try to create bulletproof lives where we never have to face any uncertainties or any discomfort. Metaphorically, we're kind of like bubble wrapping ourselves in life. And I don't think that this is a fantastic way to live. Actually, when you think about it, it's not really living at all. Life is truly known only to those who suffer, lose, endure adversity, and stumble from defeat to defeat. Living never wore one out so much as the effort not to live. Trying to live a bulletproof, safe, risk-free life is unfulfilling, and most importantly, it's just not creative. At some point, we have to choose to fully embrace life instead of living half-heartedly. When we embrace life in all its totality, we embrace our most creative essence. Embracing uncertainty and choosing to go forward with life anyway is literally the essence of creativity. And we can embrace the fear that comes with uncertainty by using willpower. You can't get rid of fear. It's always going to be there, and we're always going to want to step away from it. But if you have the willingness to continue to take action despite the fear being present, then we're choosing life. I feel like a pro-life advocate. And then we're choosing to live. That means a willingness to experience the full spectrum of what life has to offer, not just the feel-good and safe moments. I always hear the phrase that the only way out of fear is through. Unfortunately, I don't think that going through fear is going to make it subside forever, but I do think that it will lead us to the next step, and that each step is leading us to a life that's meant for us. Creating this video was truly an act of confronting my fears head on, and through this process, I realized that despite being terrified of making this video, I'm gonna be all right. At the end of the day, I always have two options. I can stay in my comfort zone, all nestled and cozy, or I can courageously choose to live my life, fears and all. Needless to say, I'm here, so I think the choice I made is obvious. What about you?